I'm live, but the old lady needs some lipstick on. So got a little bit of red, a little bit of this to even it out a bit. So welcome everybody. Thank you. Got a little bit of crazy hair today. It kind of went, I don't know. This is the way this is the way I woke up. Except for this. I do makeup every day. I'm big on doing my makeup and stuff. So my son finally got the keys. Finally got the keys. Good morning, everybody. It's still morning. Yes, it's still morning. So I'm dyeing my hair. Really? What color? What color are you dyeing your hair? I've been thinking about it, but I know I have with the gray coming through. Depending what color I go. But when I was a kid, this piece would go actually blonde when I was out in the sun. So I had, and that's sort of the piece that is going really grayish. So yeah. So I might, if I get it done, I might do it. I don't know. I love going to the hair salon. I do. I just don't like paying for it, but I love going to the hair salon and getting my hair done and just they massage your scalp. Oh, it's just so nice, so nice. So so my son, he finally uh got the keys for the house. So thank freaking God. It's just shopper fountain. Let's see if there's no, navel. Oranges. So I'm doing a home job. I'm not paying for a hairdresser. I know it's so expensive. It's so expensive to go to hairdressers, you know? I mean, last time you stopped dyeing your hair, yeah? So did I years ago because it's the upkeep, right? It's the upkeep. I mean, I've been blonde. I've been I usually go red. And then I got in my head, I don't want to ever go red because that's what old ladies do. All old ladies have red hair. Or they go blonde. My dad, my father, Harold, um, um, my father, he would color his hair and it would go, um, I think he was trying to go blonde, but my dad would had like really silvery hair, and it would go sort of a purplish color. You know how ladies used to get the blue wash? Well, his sort of went, to um, a purplish kinda color, light pur it kinda looked good because my father had blue eyes. So it it was very stunning, but sometimes I don't think he really realized it or he pretend he didn't know. I thought that was so funny. So, he was just a very, very proud man until I think, his when I think Judy mentioned it to, like, my older sister. Like, he'd listen to Judy. He wouldn't listen to Susan, but he'd listen to Judy, who's the eldest daughter. And, she said, "You know, Dad, I think you better stop dyeing your hair because it's not going the way that you would like it to go. So just allow yourself to, go gray." So my grays are just at the hairline and it drives me nuts. Oh, I wonder if Candace, if you'll go white. Will your hair go white? Like when you when it finally goes fully gray? Because that would be so pretty. I love people with white hair, like when their hair just goes white. Mine is silver, salt and pepper, right? Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. Michael, my other brother, second eldest, he had his hair was, red, like not an orange red, but his hair was an actual red hair, like he was very, the Irish, you could see it. You could see him a mile away because he was 6'5". 6'5", red hair, 300 pounds. Whoa, look at that. Here he comes. But his hair went white, was going really white, for his hair. And my one brother, Jimmy, and I saw him online on Facebook. It looks like his hair is sort of a salt and pepperish hair, but I mean, his hair when he was more of a dirty blonde. My hair and my sister Susan, our hair was very much hers was very black when she was younger. So black hair, but she had sky blue eyes. Yeah, that's kind of hard when it just goes here. At least for mine, it's sort of it's all over the place. Red, not orange. Yeah, everyone would ask my mom if I was adopted, a family Maori, but my grandfather was half Irish. Ah, yes. But your hair is naturally black. Well, that's what I can remember anyways, because I haven't seen you live, like physical form for a while. Haven't seen you physically touching, hugging. You know? So yeah, but yeah, I mean, a lot of people thought for us too, because each of us have different, like there's six of us, and it's a beret of colors of from my eldest brother, his coloring and my color are the same, pretty much the same. Then a red hair, brown eyes. Then there is blonde hair, Judy, with tight curls, like tightest curls you can get. And she had green eyes. She has green eyes. And then Jimmy with hazel, dirty blonde hair, Susan black with blue eyes, and then me. So all different, right? So I ended up more like my with my sort of like my mother's complexion and being short as well. So just the craziness of it all. Like, as I always said, with my kids, you don't know what you're going to get. It's like a smarty pack. You just shake it up and you don't know what you're going to get. And that's the same way with my kids. My first two are my black ones, my last two are my white ones. And my blackest child is my whitest, and my whitest child is my blackest. I think that's funny. So, you know, and then Mateus didn't understand that because his mom's always saying that, well, I'm black. And if you ever looked at my daughter, she's not, um, oh, I did an order online. Yes. And I have the guy, he's doing my shopping right now. So, since we don't have a vehicle anymore, so I have to order things online, and I'm not going to the grocery store and carrying heavy loads because one thing, I can't carry too much anymore. Um, back. So, and not every time my kids are available to go shopping and stuff. So, yeah, beautiful dark skin, but some of my aunties and uncles have the blue version versus brown. That's cool. That's very cool. Yeah, you just don't know. Like, I mean, with Olivia, she has her hair is long, but she has her hair is very nice and wavy. Where my eldest son, his hair, it was so thick that when he was born, I could actually tie it, and he had like about 2 or 3 inches on top, um, for the length of his hair, and it was curly, very curly. But it was more of tousled curls, nice curls. And then the number two son's hair was just he had the black bristle hair, right? And then big eyes, huge eyes. So, but none of them ended up with blue eyes. That would have been cool if they had blue eyes. I prayed that they wouldn't have red hair though. I didn't want any of my children to have red hair because I didn't like the look of being half black with red hair. I didn't like that look. Skinny picky. Giving my order to God. That's what I was doing. Giving my order. This is what I want. There's a few other things that I missed out on the design, but that's okay. That's okay. So You know what I was thinking? We're gonna get into the astrology. I was watching a thing on old maps and how some of these old maps, of the world, right? And some of them are from, like, 1400 and, um, I think there was one I don't was it 1300? No, 1400s and some in the 1500s. And they show it's kinda like they show, like, the circle of plant of land all around the different continents, and the continents were a lot closer than what they are now. And then they had the different sea urchins and stuff. My thing was and wondering because how did they figure out where the mountains were in the middle of North America, right? Like, did they go to Central America to know where the mountain ranges were and they plotted out different lakes and the full shape of it? That's what I want to know. It's like an aerial view. Like, how did they know exactly what each shoreline on the Pacific and the Atlantic look like when they were still trying to look for a route to China? That's These are the questions that go through my head. And I was wondering, like, how the hell did they do that? And then how did they get the Hudson's Bay in there? Did they go to the Hudson's Bay? How did they find that there was the Hudson, or the Hudson's Bay? It wasn't called the Hudson's Bay then, but because that wasn't formed till the 1600s. That's when, they did the first corporation. Was the Hudson's Bay Company. So I want to know these things. I want to know how they did it. I want to know how they knew about all these different sea creatures. Like how and there's just so many things that are unsolved in this world that I sort of when I watch some of these shows where they found archaeologists have found in the middle of I think it was Montana, uh, where they found hieroglyphs that were identical to that of Australia or that of Egypt, right? And I'm just like, "Whoa, well, where did they go?" Well, the Smithsonian came in and they scooped them all up. Or the giants that they found because the First Nations talk about giants being in around California, New Mexico, even parts of Florida, that there were these giants that were, like, would have red hair, and they were vicious, and they would take people and eat people. And they even found, bones with them on or skulls with the red hair. They even found where there was a chieftain, a chief, who had sort of a, part of her scepter or something had the red hair on it. And I'm just like, "Huh," but when you go and you ask about any of this, they're like, "That's just folklore. That's just folklore. It's like Bigfoot. That's just folklore." No, no, there's articles going back to the 1800s and that of talking to some of the First Nations, and they talk about this moon coming down, which would probably look like, a UFO moon coming off, and these humanoids, Bigfoot, hairy people would come off, and they would bring them food and bring them an offering and stuff like that. And they would bring them stuff, like there'd be an exchange and things like that. So it's written there, but it all gets sort of pushed aside. And I feel like a lot of that, more of that information because of the way things are is coming forward. The one thing is that especially with governments is that a lot of the governments around the world, I'd say majority of the governments, that if there's any documentation, it's not online. So anything that you find online is what they want you to find online, unless somebody else did some deep diving and found the analog information. And then finding the analog information, then, going from there. Um, so because most of the information that's why they have, these great big caves of stored information with, these great big steel belted doors, armored doors that you can't get through because of all the information. 'Cause they've stored all this information, in these caves that they made, right? For government and that. So, I'm just, there's things there, there's information that is out there that is like so missing for for all of us, I believe. But, it's just like another crazy day in the life of going down the um conspiracy world. So let's take a look a little bit at what's going on. A few things that stand out with this horoscope today. One is, through the lines is really good. It's like delays are not denials. There's a lot of delays that are happening for people, and the nervous system is trying to turn temporary pressure into permanent identity. So I feel like a lot of people are trying to get things done, do things, or push things, and things aren't moving the way that they would like them to move. So things are moving a little bit slower. So it's like don't compartmentalize. I can't even speak your whole life into one delay. The heart, I feel like that's really part of the real big thing about the astrology is that's the heart of it, right? So many people are finding that they're trying to put everything into a compartment, like trying to make sure that everything is working out, right? And the heart of this is like, it's very I think it's like relatable and psychologically grounding. I think there's a lot, with, people are, feeling like they're in some kind of lineup, like a DMV, lineup. And because it takes heavy, it's like this is it's such heavy astrology right now. And people are having a hard time trying to figure this all out. They're having a hard time trying to, because they want things to be, yes, things are moving, but things are not moving the way you would like them to move. And I feel God has taken a lot of things out of people's way that you have been so used to having. And that's what God does. God will take things out of your way that aren't in your alignment. That he does that because he loves you. He cares about you. He does, you don't need that, but you feel you need it. You feel you have to have it. Right? So you want to push up against the grain instead of taking a step back and saying, yeah, that really doesn't work for me. And that Venus that's squaring Saturn is a very much that character builder, right? Because Saturn isn't going to go willy-nilly. Saturn wants structure, right? But it wants structure in a certain way, right? And instead of punishment, it gives like there's a maturity that comes in. And this is where a lot of people, it's like that's part of the upgrading. To upgrade, you got to get mature. To upgrade, you got to step in to, yeah, this is what I need to start doing. This is what I need to start looking at. Because people are exhausted from trying to force timelines that are not fully formed yet. There's a lot of things that are happening in this world. It's not fully formed yet. And Venus in Cancer wants emotional reassurance. Like she's emotionally not damaged, but she's like going through there's a lot of emotion when you go into Cancer. And that Saturn in Aries says, build it properly. You want the emotional, reassurance. You got to build it properly. If you're not going to build it properly, it's going to be the tarot card, right? It's going to be the tower. The tower is going to come in and it's going to crumble, it's going to fall, and you're going to be, feeling, oh, woe is me. But, we also have the Mars square Pluto, where everyone's feeling pressure to transform immediately. We want it all. We want to be transformed. Here we are. But the Gemini energy is overstimulating the mind with options and information. That's what Gemini does. My safe and my falling, it's never happening. Nobody loves me. I'm always struggling, right? But the message is to redirect that into no, something is being refined. We're being refined. We're being, you know, I'm going to say led to a place that is going to be a lot better. And it's allowing ourselves to say, hey, you know what? If I really, really want to have something, I'm going to have to build it. I'm gonna have to put the work into it. If I'm not gonna put the work into it, good morning, then it's not gonna work. Everybody wants this instant, everything's gotta be instant. It's gotta be instant. And even though things are moving faster and everything's coming up faster, there's still work. And we've had a time where it just seemed, especially with Pluto and Capricorn, was a real, fine example of being the corporation and being in the right corporation and being a corporate person and, you know, and things and climbing to the top. And this is the way that you got to do it. It's changing. The way that we work, the way that we connect, the way that we interact is different. And it's not the so-called corporate way. A part of this work is spiritual. A part of this work is really coming into oneself and connecting with your heart and connecting with your mind, right? And having the mind and the heart connect. One of years ago, I used to, especially in Journey Club, I would, one of the things I'd say, it's a long ways to go from the head to the heart, for the mind to drop into the heart. Because when the mind can drop into the heart, then you are dropping into the soul. You're dropping into that alignment of allowing yourself to move with your truth. But when you're up here and always in the mind and you're always like blah 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 and wanting, oh, it's got to be this way, it's got to look that way, and we got to do this, you get very confused and you get very overwhelmed and things seem to start to fall apart. And that's very hard. That's where a lot of mental dis-ease comes in. And that's where people are feeling that disassociation. Mental illness, and we just saw what happened in Vancouver. Like, we'll bring in that in a moment of what happened to that. And he was a scientist. He wrote his thesis and everything else on gravity and other, and this other young black guy was bringing up information and showing this is what he wrote and this is the propaganda. Anyways, going off on topic, Mary, but mental illness and being diagnosed with mental illness. So mental illness is another thing that's going to be on the rise. I did state, if you watched any of my predictions, one of the things I did state is that asylums are going to be a big thing coming back. Asylums is a great place to hide people, to get rid of people, right? And it's easy enough for someone to diagnose you in a 2-minute interview in Tim Hortons or wherever, then that's where people can get very, intimidated, scared, and that's where things can get really crazy, right? And but the one factor, here's the one thing, is like, because of where the energy is that the information's getting out. Information where they don't think that people will take a look at this, or stand up. And that's this is where the difference is now. A few years ago, people would say, "Oh my God, what is that? Oh my God, that can't be true." They wouldn't do that. Today, and especially with the shift of energy and information coming in, people are saying, "What the fuck? What did they just do?" Right? And that's part of what, Saturn says, "I want proper structure." That's not proper structure, right? Venus wants to feel good. But here we have this structure that's coming in and that's saying that, "Oh, well, we can do whatever we want." But then people, it gets a hold and then it goes crazy, right? People start digging. You got these beautiful little sleuth people that are on the internet and they're like, "Oh, well, what about this?" Blah, 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 blah. And out comes all the information. Oh, they didn't like what he said. They didn't like what he was promoting, right? Information's coming out. Same with that poor young boy who just who was killed in December, right? He was stabbed in the UK by a Sikh. He was stabbed because of their little sword that they carry, which I don't agree they should be carrying. I don't think anybody should be carrying a sword, a machete, or any kind of thing like that in public, right? At all. You know, and said that he said something like some racial slurs, and that that he stabbed him to death, basically, and he died in his own blood, drowning in his own blood. I mean, horrific. That's horrific. Now it's gone everywhere to the point that Elon Musk is backing for helping the family to fight this, right? And I think that has checked out, and we'll send you update. Okay. Um, that is, one of the things is that information coming out, right? And people are grabbing hold and actually because when you enforce something on people, and then they, through that enforcement, through a psyops and things like that, people are like, huh, hang on here. This is a little bit crazy. Huh. Yeah, there is something about those chemtrails and that are going over top. Why are they doing the chemtrails? Huh. What do you mean? Bill Gates is, letting out all these ticks, and people are getting bitten. They can't eat meat anymore. Huh. But this is where with the elites, because they feel, and this is part of the astrology too, where and where Pluto is, it raises this up, right? Because it has to do with humanity. It has to do with community, and that's Aquarius. And it raises up all of the dirt, and people start seeing it's like, okay, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. No, we're not doing, more of, because what Pluto does, when Pluto, because Pluto is out far, like here's the sun. Pluto's way out there, right? Because that's what happens when it's gets to the last planets, the last signs. So, and when he's out there, it comes that the energy comes for the people, not the elitists, but for the people. And the people are starting to see, and that's what happened the last time when Pluto was there. People started rising up. You had the French Revolution, you had the American Revolution, you had different people starting to rise up and say, no, we're not taking this anymore. This is when you started to find out a lot about, the things that were happening in Russia and the people that were starving. Things started to rise up around the world. And that's what's happening now. And we're starting to witness in real time that, no, this is bullshit. No, 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 no. We're not okay. Where did you take him? Oh, he's in a psych ward. What psych ward? So now you have people going to find out, well, where is he? What's he doing? How did they question his family? What did his family say? Right? And same with the young boy, that, I mean, right after this thing with the young boy, and then the mayor of uh, London, came out. Oh, we're safe, we're safe. And then in a district of London, there was a machete attack, right? So these things are starting to say, hey, no, your story's falling apart. What you're saying is falling apart. And that's also with Saturn coming in. Saturn is like, this isn't the structure. It's not working here. Right. And it's in Aries. Aries is a first house. First house is about how everything looks. Right. That's what Aries is. How does it look? It's the first house. It's how I look. Right. How do I appear? And when things don't appear right, or they're not put together right, that's when holes start to come in. That's where things start to come and fall, right? And that's what's happening, is that this is coming in, and you're finding, like, things like Bill Gates, countries are saying, no, we're not going to do that. We're not allowing your bullshit into our country. No, you're not allowed over here. So he's seeing where, for him and his power is slowly depleting. It's just here in North America where the it is idiocy of the government is not there. They don't have the they're it's like almost where they're the teenagers. They're the teenagers in this all, where you have, of course, Europe and China and Russia. I mean, they've been around the block several times. And where you come into North America and even South America, They haven't been around as long, right? Yes, they've been around, but not as a geopolitical, opponent. And, with United States celebrating 250 years, there is holes, tons of holes, and people are starting to see it. People are starting to see those flaws and it coming through. Now, the energy, since Pluto is in there for 18 years, so this is where we start to see how things start to really um, fall, because when he leaves Pluto and goes into Pisces, I think it's 37 years. So that's, I mean, things don't speed up until they get into till Pluto gets all the way around again, right? But that's over 163 years. So things don't come in. El Salvador too. Did you see his speech on Soros? He said, "Who elected him? He's not welcome here, and people are starting to see who he is and what he does to democracy." Yes, Soros. Like Soros is a freaking evil, 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 evil man. And that's the other part too, because we are in this time of good and evil. We are in this time of where are you putting your energy, right? That's why religion is on the rise. That's why Christianity is on the rise, because people are going back to what they know. It's within their DNA, right? So their DNA is, when you go to your lineage and you go through your heritage and you look at that, you will see your alignment. What alignment is there for you within your DNA? And that's the whole thing. It's like, well, I got to go back to what I'm used to. But here's the other part, is that we're coming into a new time, and a new time and a new era. And that's where, people want everything, want it now. Let's bring it in now. But it's not going to, no. I mean, the age of Christianity or the age of Pisces just didn't happen overnight, right? The age of, Aries didn't happen overnight, right? They had to go through the age of the bull, and then came, you know, Judaism and Aries and the horns and everything. So this is where, with Pisces, it was the fish. Now we're coming into the age of Aquarius and the new signs. So the new signs, there's always some kind of symbolism that really sticks out with with each age, right? And I feel like the age of Aquarius will have to do with something to do with UFOs, something to do with, outer space, because that's very, very Aquarius. So very Aquarians are very, it's a very it's air, and it's air that moves out. It moves out far, right? Even though it's one that it's a difficult sign for me. Aquariuses are difficult signs, but it's a sign that has to do with science. It has to do with knowledge. It has to do with new inventions and new things coming about. That's what Aquarius is, because it is the old ruler is Saturn, and that's where Saturn is sort of the mad scientist. So crazy things come out at this time, crazy ideas, new innovations, are seen. And with Pluto being in there, he's just digging shit up, because Pluto is god of the underworld. Like he's gonna like, well, what the fuck? Why is this in here? Why is this in here? And it's bringing up a lot of rooted things that, yeah, we don't want to look at that. We don't want to see that. But it's like, you got to look at that. You got to see that. It's like everything. Like Ellen DeGeneres is a fine example, because she came out, she was a comedian and stuff for a long time. She got her own sitcom. Then she came out in 98 and said she was gay. They canceled her show within a couple months, and then nobody heard about her until she did the Walt Disney with Dory, and that sort of brought her back out, right? When she did Dory, and then she got uh, her own talk show, and it was a little bit different than Oprah, and it was different than, um, the other ones that were out at that time, and everybody was sort of like, "Oh, well, she's so kind." I mean, I loved Ellen. When Ellen was out, I thought she was so cool. I thought she was, what was being portrayed, right? So, of course, I had scales on my eyes, and I thought, wow, I really love her. Like, she's really cool. And then rumors started coming out, she's not nice. And I'm just like, interesting, because I've been asked, a couple times my kids were like, we're going to put your name. We want you to go to see the Ellen show. And I went, no, I don't want to go see her in person for whatever reason. I just didn't feel compelled. Like, I thought she was great. And I thought, oh yeah, she's doing some great things. But looking back at some of her interviews, especially with P. Diddy, and her alignment with P. Diddy. Her the things that she did with Justin, and how many gifts she would give Justin, right? And shit like that. So I thought that was kind of odd, right? And then when COVID came and stuff like that, that's when things really started to fall apart for her. And the truth of who she was started to come out, right? And it was like one of those things. It's like, holy shit. It was all, it was that whole facade. And then her ex-girlfriend dies, and I'm putting that in quotation marks, because her car supposedly went out of control because they said she was drunk or drinking, and they basically took her away, right? Because she was going to be coming out with a movie, because she's involved in a movie. Yes, yes, Anne, coming out with a movie about, um about children, being exposing the things that were happening to children, and then she disappeared, right? So I find, the thing is that those little things started coming up around her, and all of that, and so took her out of the limelight. It's basically Hollywood said, "You got to go, girl, because this ain't gonna work." But I think if she came out today and then finally came out and said, "Oh, I'm game," this and that, she probably would have got the show, got everything, and probably had a trans co-host or some kind of bullshit. But that's the whole thing, is that there are people that are starting to be exposed, that thought that they were safe, that we continue to um hide behind our facade, we continue to hide, then we're going to be safe. But that's where, especially where Pluto is, and Pluto being out, he starts to expose all of that, and it starts to rise up. But people are wanting it to happen quickly, but that's just not how it works. And even within our own lives, like, well, we want this to happen now, or you know the whole thing that's coming up too is like, a lot, money's going to make me better, my health is going to make me better. If I take the Ozempic, I'm going to be skinny, and everybody's going to think I'm great, right? No. The truth, it comes with, when you work hard at something, when you want to get into shape. So say I decided, yeah, yeah, I'm going to the gym every day. Probably won't happen. But if I decided this is what I want to do for my health, I'm going to go to the gym every day. I'm going to start making different life choices. Is it going to be easy, or is it going to be hard? It's going to be fucking hard. When I have to get up, when I have to go and get there, then I have to do the exercises. But when you do it on a continual basis, you begin to see that, you know what? Yeah, I'm actually appreciating what I'm doing for myself. I'm appreciating it. So that psychologically, you're actually working through it as well. When you're going for the quick fixes and you're going for the quickness and everything, the mind doesn't catch up to what it is that you're doing. So the mind's back here, the body has moved over here. So it's hard for that connection to come in and for that to happen. So I feel like for people, there's such a psychological issue that's coming up as well. So back on to the mental, the mental issues that will be appearing, because many have not been shown how to do the hard work, how to put the nose to the grindstone, how to create what it is that they need to create, right? In everything. So just 1 second. I think my groceries are here. Steve, can you go see if the groceries are here? Okay, I'm online. So this is like really important for us to understand that these changes that are happening, that the reason why I believe God wants us to do this slowly is so that we can integrate it, so it can be a part of our lives more fully and completely, and that we are able to allow these frequencies to adjust to us, and learning how to do the hard work, learning how to do this type of work is something that is beneficial for us, even though it might feel like, oh, this is all bullshit and this is overwhelming and I don't want to do it. But I find that the next few days, especially with the moon going from Libra to Scorpio, is going to be difficult for people. It is going to be very um, a place where people are going to find it hard to adjust to new ideas, new ways, and new frequencies, right? So the thing is that don't turn one delay into your entire identity. Not everything in your life is blocked. Not everything is failing. Not everything is falling apart. And that Venus square Saturn can make one area feel painfully slow. But the lesson is emotional maturity, not hopelessness. The nervous system, wants catastrophic, and the soul wants perspective. And there's a beautiful, I feel like there's things that are still moving that are beautiful, and the doors are still opening. And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing on June 13th um my class on creating your own moon book, your own moon journal, scrapbook. It's because to looking at the ordinary of your life and knowing how beautiful it is, and embracing that beauty, and having that is so important, because it allows for perspective. It allows for um for you to really see how life is, instead of just always looking at a highlight reel, or at something no, it's got to be this. It's got to be the mountain view on top of the mountain and the beautiful cascading, but nobody's, blogging, everything else. Nobody's blogging what else is going on, as you go up that journey to the top of the mountain, right? What did it take for you to get ready? What kind of equipment did you use? What kind of shoes are you wearing? What are the things did you see as you walked along your path? That's part of this journey as well. And through that, you'll see, might see some crap. You might see some horrible things along the way. But then you take note of that and you're saying, okay, you know what? That's not what I want to focus on. That's not what I want. And you continue going forward. So there is this beautiful energy that's coming in, but I'm gonna say it's fucking hard. It's not easy. It is where we are going to have a wee bit of a time, or a wee bit of a struggle with that, and that's the other reason why I do what I do, do my mentorships, help people to land in the amongst of chaos and craziness, and see the beauty that is truly within their lives. Oh, you know what this is? Oh, here we get to open something. Totally. Let's see. Let's see. You can help me as I open up. I'm looking forward.
Oh, that's your grandson's stuff.
No, it's not my grandson's stuff. This is Mama's stuff.
Oh, that's ink.
That is my cards.
Oh. Yeah, that's what kind of cute.
Oh, maybe I got the printing too small. Those are my new business cards. And then pull me a card. I'm pulling my business card. And then I have for people to book. So those are the cards. There you go. My business cards. They're not bad. They're very pretty. The writing on them is small, so I would have increased the writing. I think I did it at a 6. I should have done it at an 8 or a 9. So, but yeah, they're pretty. I quite like them. Oops. Yeah, that was an oops on me. So, cuz I like the purple colors. Yeah, I do. I like the purple colors too. Never smaller than an 8 on business cards. Yeah, right? That was my error, but that's okay. That's okay. I know now. And I can, when I reorder them again, I got 100 of them. So live and learn with business cards. Definitely. Definitely. I'm quite pleased at the design though. And the feel of them. They're thick. They're thick. I like the feel of them. Totally just went off topic, right? That's the way my brain works. So, and the rounded edges. So, I like rounded edges. I don't like square edges, pointed edges. I like rounded. So I like that, and I like that I got I designed the QR code. Yeah, let's see if it works. Let's see if the QR code works. So oh, I hope it does. Hold on. If it doesn't work, then I'm shit out of luck. It looks good. It worked when I was oh, it does. It does. It does. I took it to my link tree. I took it to my link tree. Yay! So you can go to my link tree. Impressive. Why do you do everything circular? Because I don't like sharp corners. I do. I just do. I like it. I think it's pretty. It just has more of a flow. Like, have you gone into older buildings? If you go into an old chateau, yeah, you got some sharp edges, but then you got some curves that can come in too, some curvatures, or as it goes up in and the turrets and stuff like that. There's, the smoothness of it. Love it, love it. So, oh, here's the groceries, Steve. Steve, the groceries. He's trying to look to see where we go. He's trying to figure it out. He's coming to the back door. Hang on. You. Hey, no. Hang on. Hang on. Hey, come here. No, don't let her out. Come here. Roxy, over here. Don't want the dog going after the guy. Oh, chaos. Chaos. Yes, it's chaos. So, but I do have to get a banner because I don't like my old banner. What's service deliveries? I got groceries being delivered right now. So we got groceries being delivered. Later on, we have Amazon being delivered because I have stuff coming in from Amazon. So it's coming from Walmart. because Walmart had the best prices. Because I use a thing called Instacart. Instacart, and I get free delivery through Instacart. Um, and if I put something in there, it's going to give me the best price. Who has the best price, right? And then that's where you shop. So you could go margarine, and then it'll show me what stores out of all the stores has the best price, right? And I did that with the yeast, and the cheapest ones were Co-op was actually cheap, um, Superstore, and a few other places were quite cheap for it. So so yeah, so it looks like, see on there, see it says Instacart, and it's okay. Okay, all right, submit. So Jag, and it says Jagjit was my guy. So it has all the different stores, right? Pet Val, all of them, right? So let's say you put in totally. Let's say you're gonna put in there, and we're looking for I don't know, cinnamon buns. So you go cinnamon buns. I paid for the free delivery. I signed up for free delivery for a year. So it's kind of like a Prime thing. So I signed up for it, and it cost me, I don't remember how much it cost me. It wasn't that much. Trust me, it couldn't have been that much because I signed up for it. But because I don't have a vehicle anymore, it's important for me, because there's no way Steve and I could have gone to get the milk, the oranges, and everything else, right? At that, for everything. So, anyways, so I put cinnamon buns, and so in here, so we'll take the first one. So there we go. Save on Foods has them on for $10.99. Freshco has them on for $8. No Frills. Oh, but No Frills is bigger. It has it on for $9. And then Co-op is $11.99. So it did all the price comparing for me, um, in all the stores. And Walmart didn't have those, right? So you could do that. I mean, even if you don't use it for delivery. So let's say you don't use it for delivery, or you're not getting it delivered. But if you're going to go grocery shopping, this would be like, because the app is free. So if you go grocery shopping and you just want to find out, oh, well, who has the best prices today, right? And you could just put in there, this is what I want to get. So then when you go there, let's say you're choosing a store and you find they're the cheapest, you can find out, maybe cheese is cheaper at somewhere else than another place, right? And things like that. So yeah, so that's what I do. That's what I do. Like right now, Miss Vicky's chips were cheaper at Walmart than anywhere else. Some places were $5. Walmart had them on for $3.77. My grandson loves Miss Vicky sour cream, right? And my son likes the salt and vinegar ones. So some stores do. If you pull up the price, if you go to Save on Foods, for sure they do. Um, Co-op does sometimes, not all the time, but you just have to pull it up and show them, look at. So a lot of places will do that. So does it go to multiple stores? Yeah, it does. It does. So you have all of the stores. I'll go to groceries. So you have all of the stores. Right. You see some of the things I order, but it goes to all of the stores. It has Pet Value on there. It has Walmart, Co-op, No Frills, Costco, T&T Supermarket. It has Giant Tiger on there. Basha Food International. Um, Amaranth is on there as well. For people who aren't in Calgary, Basha Foods it's international. It's an East Indian shop. Amaranth is a health food store. I don't like the owner. He's an asshole. I met him. He's very he's very womanizing. He's an asshole. But they do have some good products. It has Seafood City. It has M&Ms. It has Bulk Barn on there. So it has all of those Okanagan, Okotoks Natural Foods is on there as well. So it has all of these different ones. And it'll tell you you can have the different delivery times of when you want it to get it. And then some person who does shopping will pick it up and say, I'm doing your shopping. So if I wanted to do a birthday cake, so let's say birthday cake. Birthday cakes. And then I'll come up with different birthday cakes. What kind of birthday cake do you want? Right? So you can go through and look at all the different birthday cakes and stuff like that. Yeah. So there's so it's a good little app, right? And you can find different things on there. So that's pretty cool. What's another good little app? If I can find it. Too Good to Go. Too Good to Go. Too Good to Go is it has like Tim Hortons, uh Moon Bakery, Village Pizza. And what it is like they will show you that they have items. So Bono Coffee downtown. So if you're downtown between 7:30 and 8, pick up. They have a package that's worth $5.99. It's regular $18. So it's probably day old donuts and stuff like that. And then you can go pick them up and things. So that's another good little one if you want to pick up little things and stuff like that. Sometimes little tiny grocery stores will have things like a mart downtown. It's an Asian market, and you can see what their ratings are and stuff like that for pickup quality and stuff. 3.9, not too bad. And you can pick up whatever they have reserved for today. $24 and regular $24, and you can reserve it and go pick it up. They'll have a time when you pick it up, and you could go. So anytime between 1 and 8:30 today, you can go pick up a package, whatever it is. You don't know what it is till you get there, for $7.99, and retail is usually $24. Yeah, it would be. It would be. If you had a vehicle and you wanna do personal shopping and stuff like that, definitely. And sometimes what they will do, it's kind of like if you've ever seen the truck bidding when they bid, right? When these guys bid for to do a haul. If there's a bunch of places in your neighborhood and it just popped up, so say a Walmart, Co-op, Costco, whatever, right? Pops up, and then you could take all those orders and do all those orders, have them all separate. You pay for the bags and stuff. And yeah, and do it. So yeah, it's a good little side hustle. But anyways, that's what I got today. Plus my business cards. My business cards came in pretty fast. I'm quite impressed with that. So yeah, so any questions? Any questions out there? Because there's a lot of crazy news right now that's happening. Right? So anybody watching the premieres, I haven't really watched it, just seen what is it, the premier of Manitoba. What a dick. I don't like him. I don't know. Alberta should just wait on what they want to do and see what BC says about the pipeline. No, we're not, why should we wait on the bloody pipe? Why should we wait on BC on what they're going to say about the pipeline? Right? Because they've canceled it how many times and said, no, we're not going to take it. We're not going to go in. First Nations don't want it on their property. We don't want oil tankers going down our coast, even though there's oil tankers going up and down the coast all the time, international ones, right? So they're from China, they're from the United States, they're from Russia. You got tankers going all the time, but you're worried about your own Canadian ones going? Ah, yes, I agree. Very dead eyes. Yeah. And he's just like you have no idea, right? You just want to live, it's like you just want to live off the teats of the federal government. And that's the whole thing. It's like all of the premiers have ganged up, and I feel sorry for Danielle. They've all ganged up on Danielle because her province is the province that is saying, you know what? We're tired of this. We're tired of paying money. We're tired of this. Even though you may not have signed the petition, you could have signed it or not signed it. The majority of people are tired of it, right? A lot of people think it's a minority. It's not. When you talk to the regular person, it's not like they dislike Canada. They don't dislike Canada. They dislike the government right now, or the government that we've had for over 10 years that has taken us down and drained the hell out of us to a point where our inflation has quadrupled and is one of the highest in the Western hemisphere. Like, and out of all the G7 countries. Right? That's what they're sick of. They're sick of, and even for a retired person, like basically, well, I'm going to call myself, let's see if I could get it. If I go back to muggle work, the thing is that to do that, even to do that, the amount of taxes, what the government does to me is that I get taxed on my CPP, all right? I paid for my CPP, now I get taxed for my CPP. When I collect EI, if I go out and get a job and I get laid off again, for my EI, I have to claim that CPP on my EI. I did not know that. Found that out, right? That's crazy. That is crazy, right? It's like anything that you do, right? So, and then if I earn up to a certain amount, then whatever my husband gets for his old age security, he gets dinged for it. So there could be you're expecting a certain amount coming in, and that amount basically pays our rent and pays for our groceries. And I was able to pay the utility bill. Now guess how much is left? Basically nothing is left from that, right? But it's even for my husband, he owes the government money because they said, "Well, you didn't take money off your CPP." You know how much he gets his CPP? I love it when you see these ads where people are crying like, "Oh, I got $800 for my CPP." Fuck you. Mine's like 200. My husband says 300. And I've worked a long time, but it's all depending on the job that you had, I guess. I worked at Starbucks, so my CPP is shit, right? And if you are from Alberta, Alberta gives more than it gets back. The federal government doesn't help Alberta unless, yeah, exactly. That's the whole thing. So it's the craziness of it all, right? And part of the politics. And when I listening to, with Mr. Trump going to China, I mean, that was just a ploy for them to actually buy into the US Ponzi scheme about their US dollar because their economy needs help. Um and then Putin goes there, and it's funny how things work. The king has a speech in parliament in Congress. Not long after that, the whole Iranian thing happens. Trump goes to China, then China ships all come into the Strait of Hormuz, plus are going towards Taiwan, right? So Taiwan's military is jacked up, right? Because what's happening in the Middle East is going to go over to China. So that what's happening in Iran and stuff, it's basically a war that is going to, well, the wars are eventually going to pay off the debt for the United States. The debt's going to be gone, right? And then with what's happening in Taiwan. Then Putin goes talks to China. Next thing, Putin finally says, "Fuck you, Kiev. You killed a bunch of people that you had no reason to go and bomb. Then you put a hit out on the rest of the teachers because you didn't kill them." So Kiev put another hit out on these teachers and said, "No, we don't want any we don't want any reporters." Russia said, "Fuck you. Bring the reporters in. Whatever reporter wants to come in and see what happens, open doors." They open the doors, which is wow. And then they bombed the hell out of Kiev. Not that Russia's, the it's just you're seeing how the geopolitical really works and how things happen, right? It's like after Trump met with Putin shortly after Kiev, Ukraine started bombing the hell out of Russia. Right? There's just the craziness of it all, right? Yeah, Russia and BlackRock. It'd be interesting if BlackRock goes into Russia. How much control would they have? Because you're also going, it's not like it's not communist anymore. Um, but there is a, you know, there's companies can work and they can earn, but they're still under a mandate of their parliament, right? So, and the thing is, here's the other thing. In Russia, gas prices are probably, if you're just driving around your area, the gas prices are cheaper. What makes gas more expensive is that um on their highways they have tolls. So you have to pay a toll to go into different parts, and there are different amounts. They do have free roads, but the free roads are kind of shit. They're not taken care of. They're on the back, they're in some little back village where nobody really lives anymore. Um and you can take them to save money and stuff, and but on their main highways there is tolls throughout Russia to go to drive. That adds to your gas prices, right? So your gas is ends up being about $1, including the tolls, because I watched a guy do this, um about $1.60 per liter. So, but I mean, their food and everything is cheaper in Russia. Everywhere. I mean, you go to France, food is cheaper. Taxes are higher, but food is cheaper. People can at least eat, right? So, but one of the things that I don't think is going to last, but they're going to try and implement it, right? Um, Rebel News. Oh, I love him. And his uncle is the chair of ABC, which is similar to CBC. Totally against what his uncle is doing. Oh, I love him. He's such a sweetie. And the way that he comes out, I watched him during the lockdowns in Australia, and he got such flack, like like almost being arrested and everything else, and people get so angry with him People get so mad at him, right? Where because he's not for the shot. He's still going out, and he would debate people, and they would just like "Arr!" beat him up. He has bodyguards, right? But it's one of those things. It's like people are going to get angry because you're standing up and you're saying something. And he's been banned from England too. So him and um I'm horrible with names. The head guy for Rebel News, they're both banned from England. So they can't go back to because they were going to go when Tommy Robinson was remember Tommy's name. Tommy was going to had his Unite Britain um, walk and stuff. They were going to go, and they were banned. They weren't allowed. They just within 24 hours they got that they couldn't appeal it or anything. So they sent the lovely girl from Quebec to there because she wasn't banned. They didn't know about her. Jesus. Oh my God. But the thing is, what people don't understand why they've allowed so many immigrants in is one of the things about where first generation immigrants, when they come into a country, they will vote for liberal because or a liberal type government, democratic government, right? They won't vote for the conservatives because the conservatives aren't going to just hand money out to them, right? And that's the whole thing, especially when you look here in Canada, when you look into um, Great Britain, is that people wanted to vote for them because the majority of the vote is is Muslim, right? And even within the Muslim community and within the Sikh communities, within those communities, they don't vote individually. Very rarely. If they're going to temple, they're going to vote for whatever the temple says. If the temple says we are voting for this person and this is who you have to vote for, that's who they're going to vote for, right? And the same with the Muslim community. They don't vote for, it's not like where Steve might vote one party and I might vote for another party, right? No, no. And I wouldn't. And the thing is that the women don't vote for anybody that the men don't tell them to vote for, right? And that's the whole thing. And that's what the reason why they've kept, such of the crimes and the shit that they've done is because if they started to speak out about it, they'd be called racist, they'd be called everything, they would lose their vote. They wouldn't be able to stay in the power, which is horrific, and that's partially the same way here. I mean, it's all of a sudden where Mr. Circus Man decided to go up against Trump. What does Trump have to do with, like, really, in essence, what does he have to do with Canada and the average Canadian? Nothing. Right? He can speak whatever he's speaking on his White House, going out, and catching his helicopter or whatever, Air Force One or whatever the fuck he's doing. That doesn't that has nothing to do with the individual Canadian who is trying to feed their kids, pay their rent or their mortgage, and maybe buy a car, try and live, right? But he made it a thing, and that's how else he got, especially for immigrants and for old people. Other than, I'm not old. I'm not old. I'm not one of them. But to make sure that, we're going to keep your pensions. Don't worry. But your pensions don't increase, right? Oh, definitely. Oh, and Tiva? Yeah, definitely. Voting is, yeah, all those guys. It's just absolutely horrific. Oh, no, they won't exist in 20 years for a couple of reasons. One, well, they're our pensions aren't even there. Our pensions are gonna be sold out. But the other reason too is that you don't have anybody paying into them anymore. So in 20 years, especially with the population and the aging population that we have, where in 20 years I'll be 82. Yeah, 82. Um, you know, it you're not gonna have a huge aging population that's gonna come in to pay for the pensions. And that's the other part too. It's like you don't have a young flowing generation. You're not gonna have that until for about another 163 years, right? So that's the whole thing. You're gonna be 62. Oh, so in when you look at the way the world's going, it's like, yeah, it's changing in many different ways. And this is where it's like, okay, if you want, to make sure you have a pension or make sure you have something, you got to look into it, right? And that's why for people like Dan from I allegedly, um, Neil McCoy, a few other ones that Ninja, Economic Ninja. I mean, they all talk about paying your pay your fucking bills off. Don't have debt. Don't have debt. Like if you don't need like if you don't need a brand new car, right? And everybody's, "Oh, I need a brand new car." No, you don't need a brand new car. Use the one you have. Fix it up, right? That's what you have to do. And everybody is like, "Well, no, because to have even car debt, why have car debt?" Like, if we get another vehicle, there's no fucking way I'm gonna pay for a brand new vehicle. I would love to have a brand new vehicle, it'd be really nice to have, but to have that debt is ridiculous, you know? Did you hear about BC and some indigenous groups said they'll create crime if they don't get their way? They always create crime. That's nothing new. I lived in BC. I know the shit they do. They blocked off Apex for years where you couldn't go on because you have to go through the reserve, the highway there to go up to Apex, right? It's, and yeah, oh no, it's hard. This is where again, when you listen to a lot of these guys and you see where they are now, and like even with Neil McCoy came from, he was an army kid, he was in the army, worked corporate, learned how to do things, right? Very smart man, but learned how to do things. He paid cash for his house. He was able to pay cash for his house because of the way he learned how to do investments, learned how to do things, right? And I know it's hard. I can tell you, yeah, it's hard, but it's like everybody wants to have new things, shiny things, or I just talked to a client and I talked her out of buying a new car. And she goes, but our cars, and I said, okay, what's wrong with the car? I said, can you fix it up? Can you get it, and I mean, I'm talking to a woman who's very well off, an extremely well off lady. Like her husband, yeah, uh, they're they're sitting fine. So, anyways, I said to her, "Don't get a new car." I said, "For one, because of what they want to put into the cars, and then two, I said you'd be better off buying a secondhand car, making sure that you could pay it off and not have that extra debt, and not doing that." No, they caused civil unrest. They lit fires. They bombed. They did all kinds of stupid shit. The Penticton Indian Band, they're not easy. They're not easy. That's why the airport in Penticton closed down for so many years. They stopped having we used to have flights into Penticton, we have them back now because they made another deal with the band, but they had to pay the band off twice. They went out there and they started fires on the runway so the planes couldn't land, they had to be rerouted, all kinds of shit, right? But these are the thing is that when they say that they're going like which bands are they? Like, because not all the bands agree with one another. You go to West Bank Band in the Okanagan, they don't agree with anything that's going on with the other bands because they're a very well-off band that has created a very good business plan. In fact, their band in West Bank or West Kelowna, whatever the hell you want to call it, they started the first indigenous bank for First Nations to borrow money for a mortgage, right? So you got to look at which band is it? Is it some sort of off stupid band out in the back who basically when you go on their res it looks like shit. They have how many broken down cars, their houses, brand new houses that were built for them, they just totally destroyed them, right? So it's like a lot of these ones that are saying that, oh, I want to know, what band are you from, how do you live, right? It's, yeah, because you go through BC, there's some, you just don't want to go on them, just saying, right? You taking your life in your hands when you, for some of them. They're pretty crazy. They're pretty crazy. So, yeah, it's it's nutty. And the ones on the West Coast, there's so many different West Coast tribes, right? And not all of them see eye to eye. Because the ones in Abbotsford who want to take over the land, you got another tribe that's coming in saying, "Well, no, we had that land before you did. It's in our oral um you know so it's just crazy, yeah. So, and some of them, I mean, because they're, yeah, it's, yeah, I mean, I gotta say, the First Nations here in Canada are really better off than a lot of the First Nations in the United States. They get a lot more here in Canada than they do in the States. It's a whole it's a whole different kettle of fish. They don't acknowledge, like, I talked to, when I worked at this young guy came in from Alaska, and his mom is an artist, a beautiful artist. He showed me the art and stuff of what she does. She's from Alaska. And his dad was is white. And I said, "Oh, so you're Métis?" He goes, No, we don't acknowledge that." He goes, "I'm just half. We don't acknowledge that I am Métis, or that." He goes, "That's Canadian only." And I went, "Oh, okay." That was like, "Oh, wow." Sort of like, where if you're um and he goes, "I don't get, like, for his mom being first, full, like, Alaskan native." He goes, like, she has the rights. I might get some rights from her, but not a lot. Not like they do here. Here you could go first, second, third generation, and they still all get the exact same rights as what their grandmother got, right? There's no cutoff. Yeah, and if you go through the treaties and stuff like that, when you read the treaty, and a part of the treaty does say that they gave up all their rights. They gave up all their rights. They gave it up. So it's yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know. It's just crazy kettle of fish. Let's pull a card for today. Let's see what's going on. Seven of Pentacles reversed. Look at that. So, I mean, upright, you're looking at everything and you're thinking everything's going fine, right? But Seven of Pentacles, when it's reversed, it's like, you know, what's going on? What's happening? It's one of those cards that not everything that you want has come to fruition. You still got work to do, right? So the seven of Pentacles, when it comes in and it's reversed, it's like saying, like, we still have work to do. We still have things to do. And it's a feeling of, I've put in so much effort, so where is it? It's frustrating, it's impatience, it's questioning the investment, and that's very much Venus squared Saturn. And with that, yeah, okay, we get we get the Knight of Swords, right? So then we get the Knight of Swords. We want everything to move fast. We want everything to move fast, but it's not moving fast, right? So, having the Knight of Swords reversed is basically saying you got to slow down. Not everything's going to come the way that you would like it to come. Not everything's going to happen the way you want it to happen. It's just like things are racing, emotional thoughts, wanting answers now, everything now, and people are mentally exhausted right now. And they're trying to force timelines and conversations and decisions and outcome. That's what they're trying to do. And it's just not working, right? Everything is upside down. Everything's upside down. And when you have those cards, they're trying to let you know that, maybe you just need to chill out. Take a chill pill, right? Take a chill pill. Go smoke a joint. But that's the whole thing. And the outs oh, yeah. Final card, the Ace of Pentacles reversed. Yeah, so things aren't going to come when you want it to come. Things are on hold, right? Things aren't coming through the way that you would like them to come through. And this is where fear can really come in, because the fear of opportunity is slipping away, the fear that the money won't come, the relationship won't stabilize, the new beginnings won't happen. And when Venus is squaring over to Saturn, this is where it's hitting hard, and people are looking for proof of safety right now, and that's a hard thing, right? People, proof things are working, proof life is moving on. And this is more of like a warning. Don't abandon your values because something feels delayed. Don't shrink, don't panic, don't make fear-based decisions just because things feel uncertain. Sometimes the cards appear when the foundation still needs adjusting. And I feel there's still adjusting to be done. So slow doesn't mean never. Delayed doesn't mean denied. It just, things are just moving at a pace that you just don't, it's not moving at the pace you want it. MJ, can we go into Mark's chart again to see where he's at? Mark's chart. Do I have his chart? Do you want me to do it here? I have nothing else to do today, so I can be on here for hours. Mark. New chart. Do, do, do. Do, do, do. So he's a Libra, right? So bum, 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 bum. So this is his chart right here. He has a nice trine. His moon is trining. He's got some nice trines in his chart. And he's got a bottleneck in Libra. Ooh, in the 6th house, Virgo. Oh my gosh. How is he at making decisions? So what's his chart? Is he September 27th? That's the mark I got. If you want, you can, here, I'll stop the share, because that's the only chart I got for Mark, is a Mark born September 27th, 72. 'Cause that with that mark, he has a bottleneck in Libra. Lovely, beautiful energy. Um, but to make a decision might take them a bit to get things done because of that, and it's in the 6th house, so that'd be it's ruled by 6th house is ruled by Mercury, so it has to have proper communications and everything done in being that having that sort of like Virgoous kind of energy, right? So, would be it. Heavily out, and he's yeah, with the Pluto and Aquarius, Saturn in Aries, it's creating like a lot of pressure. So whoever this mark is, there's a lot of pressure, and I can't keep living the old way. Um, it's not a light transit. I feel there's fatigue there. So do. Oh, Mark Carney. Oh, Mark Carney. Oh, okay. You want Mark Carney? Oh, that's totally different. I don't know who this Mark is, but God bless him. Let's go back to the charts and we're going to search for Mark, Mark Carney's chart. So Mark is March 16th, and he was born at Fort Smith. So let's go. Let's see. Mark Carney chart. And so he's a Pisces Sun, Taurus rising, heavy 12th. Man, there's a lot of guys in power that have a lot of energy in the 12th emphasis. His chart's not a lightweight. He's not a lightweight personality. His chart's like somebody who carries responsibility, almost like a karmic burden. So he's got a lot of karma that he's dealing with too. With the Taurus ascendant, and you can see that with his demeanor. He's like comes very calm or steady. Financial control, wants to control finances, definitely. Um, Sun in the 12th, absorbing. He's got a lot of fear. There's a lot of things that are fear. He's got hidden enemies. He's got some hidden enemies, and there's a lot of overwhelmness when it comes to himself psychologically and spiritually, especially with his 12th house placement and the collective unconsciousness. So he deals with a lot of demons. There's a lot of demons that are coming up within his chart. I feel like there could be like hyper perfectionism, and his brain is constantly going. I don't think this energy is helping him any with his brain. There's a nervous system in that's really spiking right now. So I feel his adrenals and things are going on overload. So he could be on some kind of medication at this time, and having being on some kind of medication, and because of his chart and with all. Oh, hang on, I'll pull up his chart. So 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 a lot of energy up here, right? So he's got Saturn here. He's got he's gone through his second Saturn return. He just went through that a couple years ago. So he's gone through his second Saturn return. So there's a lot of changes that are happening within his life. He also with this coming in here, because look at how big his 12th house is, right? And then the Jupiter with his rising and Jupiter sitting there on ascendant in the Taurus house. So things that he does expand very quickly, like expand very quickly. That 12th house energy that he has a lot of and especially where things are sitting right now in with Uranus or with Neptune and Saturn being in there. Um he's got Chiron coming to the end here and going to Taurus. He's got a lot of lessons that he still has to learn. There's still some learning lessons, but I feel like his nervous system is really, with all of the energies, especially being in Gemini right now, um, trying to keep up with everything and having a problem with keeping up with everything, um, and trying to keep everything going, right? And interesting. Interacting with the Canadian chart because he is the PM. Pisces Sun, Canada's emotional identity. Carney's Pisces Sun, he taps into the collective compassion, institutional healing, emotional stabilizing during uncertainty. Canada right now is deeply anxious around housing, inflation, identity, sovereignty. He wants to stabilize everything, predictability. He feels like he can steady the ship. Um, no, his chart is not one who saves Canada at all. He's very strong with crisis, economic, long-term planning, but he's not the one who's gonna save Canada. He doesn't have it. He's not a man who brought in during a difficult transition period to try and stabilize. That's what they felt that he is. He's a person to stabilize. Um, Canada, is entering a Pluto and Aquarius, Uranus and Gemini, Saturn, Neptune and Aries. Those transitions historically, restructuring government, economic reinvention, public unrest, um, sovereign questions, a lot of things to do with sovereignty is going to be coming up with Canada, hence with what's happening with Alberta. That is something that he cannot deal with. He doesn't have the tenacity to be dealing with the fragments and the fragmentation of what's happening within Canada. Plus, he's got there's things to do with enemies. There's a lot of enemies. He's created a lot of enemies. So he's going to find that whoever he thought was going to back him is not going to back him. He's I feel like he's trying to control instability through systems, and he's not able to control it. And Canada's moving into a Uranus and Gemini era where people increasingly resist. So there's he's going to have huge resistance that's going to be coming up over the next several years with um, top down control, institutionalized authority, centralized narrative of what he's saying. The old structure is tightening its grip, and the people aren't wanting that. He's not going to be able to handle when the people are going to rebel. That's not. Yeah, he can't deal with that. He's mentally unable to deal with that. He's good. I mean, if you want him to for a corporate, I mean, on a positive side, if you want somebody who wants to be in charge of a corporation and stabilize your corporation and get it on a directive, he'd be very good at that because of his Taurus and with the Gemini Taurus with there. He'd be very good at doing that. And with all of that of what he has down in Virgo, making sure that everything is executed properly. He's very good at getting things executed properly on a grander scale of a country because there's opposition to him and he's constantly under scrutiny. Finds it very difficult to do that. Plus, having a the stellium in Pisces and the stellium in Virgo, and that opposition is there. That could be very problematic, right? It's like, no, I need and a Piscean sun, I mean, they have a lot of pie in the sky kind of energy. That's why that's why one of his kids is trans, right? Because, and then backing all the trans things and stuff like that is that Pisces and Neptune was there, and getting into all of the craziness with the LGBTQ plus community, um, because he wants to bring in that structure, wants to bring in, look at this, I want to be the good person. He gets very into the illusion of it, right? Now that things are coming into Aries, and even though it's in the 12th house still, he's still under quite a bit of illusion with everything, but trying to make things more structurally sound. He's finding it difficult because I keep on getting, he's got enemies. He's made a lot of enemies, and it's not only in Canada, but in other places around the world. And one enemy you don't want to have is you don't want the United States to be your enemy. And on a global spectrum, that's what he's doing. He's making it, and then people are up in arms, up in arms with it all. He came in when energy that works well for him was leaving. Yeah, it just times are, we're moving away from the LGBTQ plus communities. We're moving away from the woke identities. We're moving away from that because people are like, no, fuck you. I don't give a shit if you got a dingle dangle or not. This is the way it works. You're a boy, you play with boys in sports. You're a girl, you play with girls in sports. The two don't come together. No, right? It's wrong. And that's, again, with Cancer down here, and Venus is in Cancer and it's squaring over here. Yeah, and then he also has his Mercury here. He's not getting the full picture. He's not hearing everything fully, right? He wants to have things done in a certain way, but it's not happening the way he wants it. It's not happening as quick as he wants to. He tried to make deals with China. China's like, okay, yeah, I'll make a deal with you, but I don't give a shit about you. Basically, it. We will take your resources because you've allowed us, right? Yeah, it does. You're right. You're right, Cynthia. It does. So he's got, yeah. When it comes to the tension, is very visible in the astrology. The old structure is like he just can't do it. Um, he does have endurance. I mean, that Taurus is very stubborn. The Saturn influence is very stubborn, resilience, but he's not emotionally impulsive and he's not emotionally rattled publicly. Like he could doesn't give a fuck, basically it. The danger isn't from weakness. The danger is exhaustion, isolation as a leader, becoming a symbolic container for the collective fear and anger. Like that he will not be able to handle because that's what's happening. And with hidden oppositions, projections, collective blame, confusion, that could be his downfall. And a man who's in his what, born 65, so he's in his late 50s. That's he's undergoing this is like a young man's game, right? And the thing is that his Pluto is in Virgo. Pluto Virgos are out. They're gone. They're you know, um Trump's a Pluto Leo, right? They're they're gone. Like they cannot lead the world into the newness. They don't have the tenacity. They don't have they don't have the know-how. They don't have the skills, right? So a lot of these old leaders like Putin or Xi, any of those guys, they don't have because the way the world's moving into this new world, they don't really have the total foresight of it all. So these guys aren't going to last for they're not going to be they're not going to be around in 20 years at all. They're not going to be around in 5 years, some of them, right? I don't Putin I think might he's been there for 15 years. Um, he's been a part of the government. I mean, he's part of the KGB when the Berlin Wall fell. He was KGB on the other side in East Germany. And I mean, he knows how the system works. He's been there, but that old system is doesn't it's not there anymore. It's changed, right? It's changed. No, put it away. If the doctor sees a woman who's having a woman issue and the doctors do extra testing. They're not doing the testing on the trans women. No, they're not. They're not. So, yeah, he does. I mean, he definitely wants to try and make it work. He thinks he can, but I don't think there's no quick fixes. Um, he wants to maintain structure while the world changes, and Canada's changing. Canada wants, I mean, you're the growth, the population, the way people are wanting to they want things to change, right? So, yeah, we're in an ever-changing world that's the world's not going to be I mean, even the world's not the same as it was last year, let alone will the world be the same in 5 years from now. No. No, it won't. Things are changing so dramatically. It's crazy. So there we go. They're not yeah. So there you guys go. I'm glad you clarified which Mark. Because I'm like, oh, this is Mark. Oh, okay. Gotta be real specific with me sometimes. So yeah, I mean, even with Trump's a Leo. I mean, Trump's a Gemini, right? And he has a Leo rising. And I think it's in the 12th house too. So, and his where Uranus is coming in, it's right now where Uranus is coming into Trump's chart, it's not good. It's not a good placement in his chart. So things are going to start to kind of get muddled for him. Things are going to start getting crazy. We also see where things are going to sort of decrease with him. I think August there's going to be something to do with his family. Unfortunately, there's going to be something very um something with one of his family members. Something's going to happen. I don't know if it's a car accident or something along that line happen with him. I know his daughter, I mean his daughter is married to a very well-known Jewish man, but um the Iranian government have already put death threats out on her, which is kind of scary, and also showed that they had the full map of her house, which is crazy. The Canada chart, Alberta feels it first, so we're just waiting for it to spread to the east. Yeah, it'll take a while for the east to even wake up. The east, because they just don't want. I don't know. The east is stupid. I don't know. They're fucked up. I don't know. When you go to the maritime, I mean, I don't think the maritime haven't even stood up for anything. I mean, they're the ones who blocked people off from leaving their property if they didn't get the shot in New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. Like, what the fuck? and even had them on the list at the grocery store. Oh, Susan Smith didn't get her shot, so don't let her into the shop. Like, who the fuck? Why do you have my medical information at the grocery store? That's how crazy those provinces were, right? Danielle and Pierre have strong charts for these upcoming. They do. I don't know if Pierre can do it though. That's just a feeling that I have. Same with Danielle, can only lead for so far. But yeah, Pierre understands Alberta's position, and now that he's an MP for Alberta, he understands that position. But once you get if he got into once you get into that position as prime minister, a lot of things start to change because you start to see things differently, right? And a lot of things start to change. So we'll see what happens with it all, because it's pretty nutty, the geopolitical that's unfolding with it all. I told you that all the time, and he's from New Brunswick. Oh, New Brunswick is so. Yeah, we had jokes about New Brunswick when I was a kid growing up. I mean, I knew people, like, when I was in my 20s, I met um a lot of people who came into Alberta that came here to work, and they were saying that um they were just getting indoor plumbing into some of their uh, and this is in Fredericton. I mean, they're just getting indoor plumbing. One girl talked about that their house was so old that in the winter time underneath the floorboards was ice. Like, what the fuck? You live in you're like, you live in Canada? You live in a major city? They're allowing this? Yeah, so I mean, they're getting up on things, takes them a bit. So we'll see how things unfold. Ontario, you got a huge immigration issue. We know that from was it Brampton, is a huge East Indian population. I mean, people in Pakistan, the average Joe in Pakistan and northern India, they all know to go to Canada, to go there, they're going to get a job, kind of thing. So I mean, it's all the people that they've allowed in have doesn't help either, and the craziness that is unfolded. Yeah, it's getting into politics. This is one of the reasons why, to go into politics, you got to have thick skin and you got to know how to lie. That's the name of the game. You got to be able to hold back the truth and not tell the full truth, and you got to be able to play the game, and you got to be able to step, you know, to tread lightly on things, right? And when you start making a real big fuss and you start making waves, you can it could really kill your career, or it could push you up, right? So, yeah. Yeah, it's a different mindset. Beautiful. I got to say, it's beautiful province, definitely. Um has some beautiful landscape, but not my cup of tea. Oh, I got a big wasp in the house. Thank God my daughter's not here. She'd be freaking out. So, but anyways, I'm gonna love you guys and leave you. I've been on here for a while. Um, unless anybody else has any last questions before I part here and leave you all, or any questions for me. Have a great day. Thank you, Cynthia. And my ghost walk. Now, I said it's sold out. I got two people that I don't know if they're coming or not. She said she was coming, but now she's on. Anyways, I don't know if she's going to come off where she's at. So she's on the res right now. Beautiful girl. I love her. She worked for me. But I don't know if she's able to come. But so I may have two more spots left if anybody would like to join on Sunday at 8 p.m. Bring your, you know, bring your umbrellas because it might be raining. So thank you. Find someone to record it. Yeah, I would love to find somebody to record it. I might record it and stuff like that if people want to see it. If there's enough interest in people wanting me to record it, let me know, and I will make sure that it gets recorded. So if people are wanting to, you know, come out. So, anyways, have a good day. We'll talk to you guys later.